You can't be reading a breakdown of the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, an Instagram post by somebody, or something that is quoted by a motivational speaker. At a certain point, there was a rise in what we call the personality ethic. You see, before then, we'd always been talking about the character, building character. You have to think here about even those old films, yeah, John Wayne. He was this strong character, killing the bad guys. But at a certain point, we started focusing more on the personality and not so much on the character of the person. And this then shifted the conversations that we're having, because then we had this flood of all these self-help books which are then telling us on how to manage people, better communication strategies, power strategies, how to be more present in a room, techniques on how to quickly fix your team, bonding. These sorts of ideas were coming out, but they were all around a personality ethic. One didn't really have to change their character. All you needed was a good technique which would then change any situation. They were quick fixes. A person who is of above average intelligence, this cannot really be what we are getting our most of our knowledge from. Let me put it like that, yeah? This can't be where we're getting most of our knowledge from. And don't get me started on the coaches and the motivational speakers who then we run to, and they're telling us a lot of common sense like things. Oh, you have to take responsibility for your life. Choose your heart. Really? Do we actually need this? Think about it. Is this who we need to be giving us advice and helping us through some of these things? It's not that I'm downplaying them, but I'm thinking that we need a system of growth which goes into us. So it's not just bite-sized pieces of wisdom, because of course a lot of what happens is that these people have already read many of these books, and then what they do is they shrink it down to bite-sized wisdom. And then you come and this is what we are taking from. That cannot be us. We need to go to the source of these books. And that's why we're talking about great books. You can't be reading a breakdown of the Conversations, Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. You yourself read them, not just an Instagram post by somebody or something that is quoted by a motivational speaker. This is what I am talking about here. Go back to the source and let's read what the source says. And now that's just the first part. But the second part is that we need to also then be going back from the personality cult to having conversations or drawing on a cult of character. And necessarily, if we're talking about a cult of character, what we're talking about here is building a life on principles, truth, justice, love, family, those kinds of principles, right? So it is to learn about these principles and then to see how they are being applied. And of course, then the simplest way that this is already being done is in the kind of books that we are reading. Let me give you an example. The Old Man and the Sea. I hope by now you've had a chance to read the book. The Old Man and the Sea. You notice that he's going through a very tough time. And as he's going through the tough time, trying to pull the fish in, he's tired, he's exhausted, his hands are bleeding. He looks at himself and he says, no, a man does not give in. A man sticks to what he is doing. Yeah? Or he says, yes, I cannot be defeated. Yes? A man he can be destroyed, but never defeated. In a sense, these are life principles. This is something that goes into your character and makes you a different person. And when we talk about books changing a person, that's what we need. You pick up tips from these books, and that knowledge is written into your character. And therefore, you emerge on the other side as a different person. This change can only happen at a fundamental level. A lot of these management style self help books do not want us to change our character as such. At this point, you say, no, 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 but I know one that helped me. That's fine. That's fine. There are obviously occasional ones that you will find here and there. But generally speaking, as a staple diet, and I think also with the march of time, the books are becoming sillier and sillier if you really think about it. I remember my friend's husband who had gone away on a conference and he came back. She says he came back after about a day. Of course, because there was so much silliness going on in that conference. I want you to ask yourself these questions. How many meetings, yeah, how many development and growth meetings you keep going for, and you find that they're not telling you anything that you did not know? That yes, I must take responsibility for my life. Did you really need a book to tell you that? You must wake up early in the morning, the 5 a.m. club. Really? If at this age you have not learned how to do that, then what are we doing here? And so that's what I am saying, that yes, occasionally you might pop in just as a reminder that, am I doing the right thing? But this cannot be our staple diet. Our staple diet of reading needs to be based on principles that helps us to think fundamentally in a different way, where we are learning the application. We're learning principles and the application of those principles. You want to read something that changes you and transforms you. And I really mean this. Think about when you're reading Chinua Achebe's book, yeah, Things Fall Apart, and you come across a man like Obiorika. And Obiorika is helping us in critical thinking. We're not, at that point in time, you're not saying to yourself, oh my goodness, I am now a critical thinker. But when you see Obiorika's thought pattern, he's questioning what is happening in his community. And he's asking, why do we have to do that? Why do we do the things that we do? And then you sit in silence for some time. Do you know what that does? What that does is that it sinks into your subconscious. And now as you walk along the corridors of your company, as you walk along the corridors of your friendship, as you sit back in your family, you begin to question tradition. And ask yourself, why do we keep some traditions and why don't we get rid of some of them? So do you see what I'm trying to say here? That this is a way that we are becoming inculcated with a different way of being and a different way of thinking. Basically, stop with the staple diet of management styles. I know they're helping you in your work sometimes, but just stop.